Happy Wednesday, Wellness Warriors. I am checking in from our backyard again today. The dogs and I are out enjoying a bit of a break from the freezing cold AC inside. So just come out for a bit of a breath and a bit of a stretch, and I encourage you to do the same. It is so easy to sit and sit and sit for hours at our desks in front of our laptops or whatever it is that you work. If we forget to stretch, and it's so important to assist our bodies in getting that blood and prana or breath circulating. So if you aren't able to go for a walk, take a stand right now, get up, do a bit of a stretch, take a breath, shake your hands, shake your arms, do a bit of a jig, and just get that energy circulating again. So I am particularly happy today. My husband is safely back from planet Peru, thank the Lord. So the dogs and I are just so pleased to have him back safe and sound. And you know, it's really interesting because as expected, he just looks so bright and so healthy after being back home, back to where his roots are, and having spent some much needed time with his family. I can really see how, well, it's really just a powerful reminder of once again how important our primary food is. So if you haven't been following along and this is the first time that you're checking in, welcome. There are lots of videos waiting for you on my wall, so go and check those out. Primary food in essence is not physical food, not the food that we eat off our plate. Primary food includes relationships, your career, finances, your spirituality, and exercise. So obviously in this instance I am referring to relationships. So this got me thinking a little bit, as it always does. And you know, today I was especially present to just some conversation that I heard, language that I've been hearing people use around this idea of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So obviously when I'm working with my clients, one of the areas that we look at is cooking at home, really taking on one's nutrition. And so it's really interesting to me always to listen for the generalizations that tend to come to the conversation naturally. We're human, we all tend to use generalizations from at one point or another, and I encourage you today to really check in on that. So have a think about how is it that you assess what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So perhaps we're talking about exercise, perhaps we're talking about food, perhaps we're talking about a daily ritual. How do you assess what works for you and what doesn't work for you that well? So if you're drawing a bit of a blank and you're not sure because perhaps you've settled into a comfortable or not so comfortable routine, my invitation to you today is to have this top of mind, start noticing how you make those decisions and consider playing a different game. So one of the probably the only advantage of not having my husband around for the past few days is it gave me the opportunity to really be selfish and play with this idea of taking on different rituals, taking on different time zones for myself. And so I played with that a bit. So you might have noticed, if you have been following along for the past few weeks, that usually my preference is to check in with all of you first thing in the morning, usually after I've done some exercise, because that's when I tend to feel my best. Well, I decided to take some of my own medicine this week and really check in with what it would feel like if I checked in a little bit later like I am today, right? I mean, how are you otherwise going to figure out what truly works for you and what doesn't work all that well? So I'm happy to report that I've had a very interesting experience trying this on. It's been very interesting to be out and about in Miami at different times of day. I've loved seeing the moms and the little people, for example. I've enjoyed that it's a little bit cooler. It's a completely different energy. That being said, I'm really clear that my preference is to check in with you early in the morning, the same way that it's my preference to coach earlier in the day. So if I hadn't taken on this little experiment, I wouldn't have known. So once again, my invitation to all of you is to take on something. Maybe it's an ingredient in the kitchen. Maybe it's a specific type of exercise. Maybe it's just the idea of exercise. Who knows? I'm not sure what it is for you. And I do know that all of us have that area, or perhaps areas in our life, that we use these generalizations and we make up our mind and we make decisions without really having given something a good, proper go. So wellness warriors, check in with yourself, identify one area that you can play a little bit, where you can experiment a little bit. You might be pleasantly surprised. So I look forward to hearing from you. I love it when you guys share. It really makes me feel more encouraged and motivated to continue sharing what's inspiring me. And for more information and more inspiration, I invite you to visit wanady.com. And until tomorrow, I will see you later, wellness warriors. Take care and rise, wellness warriors, rise. Bye everybody.